Welcome back to another edition of Saran's Chronicles. And today in my kitchen, I'm going to be making something very tricky and very simple at the same time. Tricky, why? Because if you don't get the ratios right, you're going to have it turned out a disaster like I had made the first time I had made it, the first time I attempted making it. So I don't want any of us making any mistakes because I am documenting the ratio and the measurements and the technique of how this simple yet tricky dessert is made. So I'm making this zarda, which is ideally made in a lot of households, in a lot of gatherings, in a lot of happy occasions like weddings, get-togethers, Eid, Bakrid. I mean, it is a very simple yet popular dish. It requires very minimal ingredients from your pantry, which are readily available, and nothing fancy, nothing over the top, simple yet divine. So I soaked 1 cup of rice. Now I am just draining out the excess starch from this water, from the rice. Basically, this process is very essential because you don't want any excess starch in your water, and you have to run the water 3 to 4 times until it comes out clear. You can skip the process. I tried doing it because I was like, curious. But then, the rice comes out really sticky and you don't want any of the excess starch to be involved in your rice. So at this point, when the saucepan with water has come to a roaring boil, we're going to add our soaked rice, which we kept soaked for half an hour. Now I am just going to boil it to al dente for about 7 to 8 minutes, or as per how your rice are basically wanting to boil. I mean, it depends from rice. It varies from rice to rice. So this rice, which I am using, takes about 7 to 8 minutes to come to an al dente texture. Now, once the rice have come to that boil, I'm gonna drain out the excess water, run some cold water over it so that it stops cooking. I forgot to document that process because my battery ran down. So yeah, I'm just explaining it right now. Now in the same saucepan, I added about 3 tablespoons of clarified butter, which is ghee. To it, I'm adding 1/3 teaspoon of cardamom powder. You can add whole cardamoms also. Just, I mean, it's up to you. I had cardamom powder, so I'm adding that. This is about 2 tablespoons of the required dried nuts which you want to add. I am adding some pistachios and almonds. You can add walnuts, cashews, raisins, whichever is available, however you like it. I like a lot of almonds and pistachios. Well, they're not a lot exactly, but they're enough to give that nice crunch. So I'm just sauteing it a little bit so that it can basically have a nice crunch to it. As you can see, I'm adding 3 tablespoons of half and half milk. Well, this is completely optional. I saw a recipe, and believe me, it came out really nice with this step. Now, when you add milk to any of your desserts like semolina dessert, which is suji ka halwa, or vermicelli, which is savaiyon ka zarda, it has that nice rich texture. I have added the milk. I'm just mixing it a little bit, giving it a nice stir so that it boils. It comes to a nice boil, and now, as you can see, the rice which I had boiled to al dente, I'm adding it to my saucepan, which has the remaining ingredients. Now, you must be wondering, where is the sugar? Sugar is added right at the end on top of the rice, and we are not gonna mix the sugar. We are just gonna add it right over the rice and just cover the lid until it comes to until it basically melts by itself. Now the heat adjustment is very essential over here, because if you add your sugar and just put it on medium low, which is on simmer mode, you're gonna have your rice stiffened. So the heat should be medium high. It should not be too high because your rice might stick at the base of your pan. It should be enough to have that melt. So now we have added the sugar. We have covered the lid. We are going to wait for the sugar to melt and completely dissolve inside the rice. This takes about 3 to 4 minutes at the most. Now the sugar has completely melted over the rice. I'm just giving it a nice stir, And since the rice were cooked al dente, so they're not breaking, they're not going mushy. Now at this stage, we're just mixing and stirring the sugar inside the rice, and I'm adding some kevra water, which is about 1/3 teaspoon, or you can just completely eyeball it. This is basically a flavor enhancer which is used for desserts, main course dishes like korma. It really brings out a lot of flavor inside your food. At this point, I have lowered the heat. I'm garnishing it with some desiccated unsweetened coconut, and this is completely optional. You can add whatever servings, whatever decorations you want, like ashrafia, dried nuts, raisin, XYZ, whatever you want. I gave the zarda a nice simmer for about 5 minutes, and as you can see, it is completely ready. I'm gonna dish it out. This dessert is so easy to make. It comes together within 20 minutes, and you just have to soak the rice. Now, soaking the rice is depending on which rice you're taking. You can take basmati rice, which I have taken. This is normal basmati rice, which you normally use for any rice dish you're preparing. You can use sailor rice, which is ideally takes a lot of time to soak, about 2 hours. I don't use sailor rice as much, but you can use it for your dessert however you like it. And over here I am garnishing it with a little bit of remaining sweetened desiccated coconut. You can skip it, you can add whatever you want. I like the texture of sweetened coconut, so yeah. And here it is. Bon appetit. I hope you liked my video. Thank you.